Hey guys, I just wanted to do a quick tutorial on how to render different objects separately in Maya using the Arnold engine. So if you want to hide an object in the scene but still preserve the shadows and reflections cast by it, you'd use this method. So I'll start off by showing an example. So in this video that I made recently, I rendered Elsa and the background separately. And what this allowed me to do is make the background a little more blurry, a little less saturated, and a bit darker so that Elsa stands out. And on Elsa's layer, I was able to increase her contrast and vibrance and also give her this nice shimmery effect. If you look closely at the snow layer, you'll also see that there's shadows cast by Elsa in the scene. And I don't know if you can see it clearly here, but there's reflections cast by the snow on Elsa as well. So when I composited it together later, it looked natural. I'll show you how to do this using a really simple scene. So in this scene, there's a sphere and a background. I'll show you how the render looks like first of all. So this is the full render with the object and the background. As you can see, it's a metal ball. It has reflections coming off the background, and it's also casting shadows on the walls. But if I just hide the sphere in the outliner, just Control H it, this is what happens. The object is gone, but so are the shadows and reflections. And if I hide the environment, then the environment is gone, but so are the reflections cast on the object. Alright, so to get into it, if I want to hide, so I'll just keep this open so you can see. If I want to hide just the sphere, this is what I'll do. I'll select the sphere, make sure I go into the attribute editor, and make sure I'm on the sphere shape node. So without getting too much into detail, every object in Maya has a transform node, which has the translate, rotate, scale, etc. And the shape node, which has more, all the Arnold stuff, which is where we need to go. So you select the object, go to attribute editor, go into the shape node, and then go into Arnold, and then go into the visibility node. And you see all these check boxes. You turn off the primary visibility. And then if you go into render, you'll see that the object is invisible, but the shadow and reflections are still there. So, as you can see, there's a bunch of stuff here. There's shadow, reflection, and all that. All that is preserved, but we just hid the visibility. So that's really simple. But what if you have a scene where there's a bunch of objects that you need to hide the primary visibility on? So I'll show you another example. So here there's a scene with a bunch of building-like structures and a bunch of spheres. And I'll just quickly show you what the render looks like. So it looks like this. Notice that the sphere has reflections of the building structures, and the spheres are also casting reflections and shadows on the buildings as well. So I might as well just show you what it looks like if I just hide it in the outliner as well, so you get an idea. So you can see there's no longer reflections coming off the buildings on the sphere. Alright, just wanted to show that just so you can see. I'll re-render it so it's like this. Okay. Alright. So you would think if you want to hide the visibility of multiple objects, you can just select the group and then go to attribute editor, but you'll see there's no shape node because it's a group rather than a mesh. So you'd have to select the mesh to get the shape node. So you'd think you can just select all the meshes like this and then go into the shape node, go to Arnold, and turn off primary visibility. And when you render it, you'll see only the ground is gone. And that's because the ground is the object that's selected last. That's why it's green. And if you select everything and do this, it only affects the object that was selected last. So basically, you'd have to select each individual object and repeat the step of turning off the primary visibility, which if you have a lot of objects and you're doing a lot of test renders, it's a nightmare and you'll eventually go crazy if you keep doing that. So I'll show you an easy method on how to turn off the visibility of multiple objects. So first of all, you select all the objects, then you press the down arrow key. This selects the shape node of each of the objects, which is what you need to turn off the primary visibility. Then you go to Windows, General Editor, and Attribute Spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet shows all the attributes of an object, and here, because multiple shape nodes are selected, they're all listed here. Then you go to All, and you type in primary visibility, and you get this one column with the primary visibility values. You'll see that the plane shape, which is the ground, has the primary visibility off, but everything else is on because the plane was the one that was last selected before. So to turn off the primary visibility, you select all these values, you drag select it, and then press 0. In the spreadsheet, if you press 0, it goes off. If you press 1, it goes on. So I'm gonna press off again, 0. And then if you do a render, you'll see that all the buildings are gone, but it's still casting reflections on the sphere. So yeah, that's about it. And another quick tip I can give you is that instead of always going to Windows, General Editor, Spreadsheet, you might forget it. So you can save it in a custom toolbar, a custom shelf here, and then when you click it, it automatically takes you to the attribute spreadsheet. I have a different tutorial on this. If you press the I on this video on the top right, you can see that. So yeah, that's about it. Basically, the reason why I decided to make this video is because when I was searching how to render objects separately in Maya, most of the tutorials that came up as were like render layers, AOVs, and things like that, which is just not what I needed because all I wanted was to render objects separately. AOVs are good for when you want to render when you want to do separate renders of objects that are visible in the scene, like ambient occlusion, colors, lighting, etc. But if you just want to hide an object but still keep reflections and shadows from it, then I think this is the best method. If you guys know another method that's easier or better, then just let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if you found this useful. It always makes me happy if even one person is helped from their Maya struggles by watching one of my tutorials. So just let me know. Anyways, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.